Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the B-29, one of the most iconic planes within War Thunder, one of the most iconic planes of the Second World War, and one of the most iconic bombers ever, I guess. And I personally love big bombers, and not just the B-29, but I rarely fly them these days. For numerous reasons. They are all spaded. The Germans will get now one new heavy strategic bomber, twin propellered but 4-engine, the Greif, the Heinkel 177. I'm really looking forward to it. But back to the B-29. So I really love the look of the plane and how it flies. Everything when you look at the plane screams, I'm a big strategic bomber. And I love it. The 4 engines, the shape and the length and the sheer size of the wings and the tail, and also how the fuselage is shaped, how streamlined everything is, how functional at the same time. The story behind it, B-29s were the bombers that dropped the atomic bombs on Japan at the end of the Second World War. And I also love the defensive 50 caliber turrets, how many you have, how effective they are, and you will see how brutal they are at the end of this game. And this will be a very long game that I will not cut a single bit out of it, which is very important. So let's go roughly over the stats of the B-29. It's an American strategic it's an American strategic heavy / strategic bomber at a battle rating of 6.3 at rank 4. The maximum speed is listed with 641 kilometers an hour at 9,100 meters. Maximum altitude is 12,000 meters, and I believe that this plane can actually reach this altitude from what I have seen. And you also have 4 12.7mm M2 Browning machine guns ×2, and also a quadruple 12.7mm M2 Browning turret. Furthermore, the bomb load is very impressive, to say the least. I think this is the second highest after the Tier 4, which is a Russian modification of the B-29 for all intents and purposes. Also very interesting story behind it. I might come to this in a moment. So back to the bomb load. 2,500 pound bombs as stock bomb load. That is not nothing. You can actually do something with that. And then we also have 4,500 pound bombs, which is the maximum payload, with a maximum payload of 8,920 kilograms effectively. But the payload that I use is the 18 times 1,000 pound bombs. It's the most practical yet most effective one in the normal battle. You can just drop 4 1,000 pounders per mini base or bombing point, whatever you want to call it, and then drop the rest on the airfield, and you will make a significant profit, to which I will also come in a moment. But please give me time to run through everything, because there is a lot to talk about. A very tempting payload is also the 8 times 2,000 pounders. That is twice the bomb load, effectively, for all intents and purposes, of a Do 217 or a B-17G, to be more precise, just to give you some sort of feel for it. So then we also have to talk about one factor that mostly I do not mention at all, and those are the repair costs. Fully spaded, the repair costs of the B-29, do you have a proper seat? Yes, is 60,240 silver lines. And the free repair time with crew for me is 9 days. That is just insane, okay? And this creates an automatic problem. But let me just talk you through this in a moment. Okay. Oh, let's talk about it right now. So when you drop the payload very effectively, the 18 1,000 pound bombers that I just spoke of, on every single bombing point, and drop the remaining on the airfield, you've done your job. And for that, with the premium account and winning the game, you then by not further getting a kill assist or a kill, get around about 64 to 67,000 silver lines. So if then you get shot down, you make a profit with the maximum that you could do of around about between 4 and 7,000 silver lines. That is not much. And remember, this is with a fully upgraded plane, with a premium account, with the maximum outcome that you can actually realistically expect from just flying it by doing your intended job. You need at least 3 if not 4 B-29s with full payload to take down a base and therefore win the game by bombing. And the B-29 is one of the few bombers in the game that actually can do it, all in the aftermath of the massive TU4 disaster. So maximum amount of bombers, removal of the holographic aim circle, increase of the base health at tier 4 and 5, and so forth and so forth. Increased repair costs for bombers. Tier 4 went up from 6.3 initially to over 6.7 up to 8.0, just to remember you at the basics. So now I dropped the remaining bombs on the airfield, and this is everything that I could do. Now, was this fun? Not really, but it was kind of relaxing. It was something for a change. If you want to talk to somebody but you still want to play the game, maybe grind a little bit, this is a playstyle of choice. Is it for everybody? No. But here comes the deal. How to go around the 60,000 silver line repair costs, and this is one of the aspects. First of all, the big point here, what I really have to point out, that in my personal opinion, repair costs are not a balancing factor, Gaijin. They help check shit. They just create some of the problems. Okay. Do you remember the high altitude that I spoke of the B-29 to which it can climb? This is something that many people will try to escape their repair costs. By the way, I cannot see the traces at all with those bright clouds in the background. I'm sorry about this, but I just can't properly aim. I hit the Spitfire 2-3 times so far, some sparks, and not a lot of damage. Yeah. The problem is that many people are just climbing to space after that, and they have some minutes to do so, and then they are very, very hard to catch, and this is frustrating for everybody. Literally for everybody. The team members of yours do not get the full results because the battle just won't end. The enemy team, they already have mostly secured the win, and then they have to hunt you down, which is annoying. You waste a lot of time, all because of the massive repair costs, which in my opinion are not that really nice. I think Gaijin also wants to cut here the profit potential of the plane a little bit, because if everything runs perfect and so forth, and in the normal scenario for me personally, with a premium account, with a fully upgraded plane, with the full bomb load and so forth, if you survive, win the game, you make a profit of 67,000 silver lines, more or less guaranteed. If you also destroy the base, it's even more. If you shoot down somebody, it's even more. But if you get shot down, that just cuts a lot of the profit out of the calculation. So you can see it's really drastic numbers. You don't have these drastic numbers with any sort of fighter. The closest fighters that get to it are some of the Japanese prop planes and some of the jets, for example the German Me-262, which is ridiculously expensive, and some of its versions as well. So at this point in time, what do I want to do? I want to go back to base. Aha! That is the way how you work around the 60,000 silver line repair cost. Well, actually not. What do you mean? Well, there are two reasons. First of all, this plane is difficult as hell to land, especially on those way too short runways on War Thunder. Now I can do it most of the time. 8 or 9 out of 10 times I make a successful landing with an undamaged bomber. With a damaged bomber, especially when the damage is concentrated on one wing, it's extremely difficult, sometimes even impossible, to land the plane without crashing, especially with the tents on the side, those observation towers, the short runways, the slow braking of the planes, the stupid speeds at which the landing gears rip, which could be a further brake factor. Same goes for the landing flaps and so forth. Landing a bomber is not always an easy task. There are ridiculously easy planes to land, such as the Me-262 or the Kika, on the engines. Other planes have this ability too. But with such a big bomber, to drop the altitude, to not to rip your planes, is not something that you can just, set a course, go to the angle and then let it fly. It might be work, but at some point you might crash into the ground with the water. Yeah, it's an active process. That is what I want to say. And when you finally have landed and you are repaired and you got rearmed, in a normal plane, you are then starting from the runway again. And you then could just simply J out, okay? And by the time you have made it back from the enemy's bases to your base, most of the time the crew log might have run already out in the majority of cases, and you saved yourself 60,000 Silverline repair costs. Therefore, you might be able to do this, right? Yeah, but there are some planes that don't work like that. The German Arados and also the F-84 Thunderjet, for instance, and also such bombers as the B-29s. What I'm talking about? I'm talking here, you're gifted by Gaijin an air start that denies you to leave the match without repair costs. Yeah. You see, people are forced to think about what they can do. Yeah, sure, they could go into gunship mode, but many people are not comfortable with that. They don't know how to control the plane, or to control the plane to not go into a dive, and they get shot up and then they don't shoot anybody down. They have to pay the repair bill anyway, and it's all a big mess for them. And you have to understand a new player. Not everybody has the experience in a bomber like I do. I know this sounds arrogant, but I have survived in Heinkel 111s in arcade when the Yak-9T was spammed out. I know what I'm doing, okay? It's not easy. When I say something is not easy in a bomber, it's not easy. And I have to work hard and have a lot of concentration and time at my hand to do it successfully. So what are my options right now? Well, to just simply crash and pay the 60,000 Silverlines, and at some point, where is the fun in all that? To hit the spacebar where I have set my drop for the bombs to, because it's easy to do. Where is the fun? Where is the value that you get for spending that time in the game? You see, Gaijin had to pay people for creating this plane, and they are called developers. So developer time went into creating this plane. They have done a fine job. The bomb load, the model, the flight model, the damage model, everything on this plane is kind of alright, fine, or even good or astonishing. But then to just simply put the plane into a meta where it works, where it's enjoyable, to fly it, but also fly against it, which is a huge aspect, is something that Gaijin has failed to do with so many planes and so many tanks throughout War Thunder, a lot of them even being new additions to the game in both tanks and planes. So here I'm using my rudder to drift a little bit and slow down even a bit more, and yeah, there you see it in jet. So, B-29, you in the stratosphere yet? No, I just landed on the airfield. This is something that people don't expect, that you actually do it. But you have to pay for it anyways with 60,000, inevitable if you get shot down. And good luck trying back to altitude with this plane at this state of the game, at this state of your team, to be precise. So, I love, again, my bombers. Let's just summarize everything that I said so far. You have you spawn at 4,500 meters altitude. You are pretty difficult to intercept on certain maps because of the sheer altitude. If you can gun the enemy down, you have a kill, which adds to your profit, but you have 60,000 silver line repair cost. And this is where then the fun ends, where it's not enjoyable anymore, despite the plane looking awesome, being iconic, and the reason why people might begin to play War Thunder at all and then turn back to the game once they are so disappointed with the plane, which is not the plane's fault, this is a fine bomber. And then you cannot save the insane repair costs, which are no longer justified after the tier 4 disaster. Now you need 3 at least, but I mostly think 4 bombers to decide the game by bombing, but then your fighters are outnumbered against the enemy fighters, and then the bulk of the enemy team will come after you, and the majority of bomber players don't even know how to do evasive actions, how to position themselves, and how to react to a threat. So let's just make a quick excursus what to do in a bomber when you are hunted down by a fighter. So first of all, if he comes from the rear at a slow closing speed and you have defensive gunners, try to gun him down, okay? If you are in a medium bomber like the German Do 217 and you have altitude and you are intercepted before you can drop the bombs, just dive. You can reach insane speeds. It depends on the bomber by itself. If the enemy plane comes in a head-on and you are in a maneuverable bomber, you might do some dolphin maneuvers, so go up and down and make the hitting much more difficult. Bombers are the tankiest planes in the game for obvious reasons, but you might just survive it. You might have issues at lower tier, especially when you have to fight planes that are equipped with 50 cals, because they just set you on fire and do a stupid amount of damage. You can see the balance when you look at it from this perspective is thrown out of the window from the beginning of the discussion, but nevertheless, let's continue. And you also might just turn around and run, shoot the guy down with the defensive gunner, or he might give up and might just run away from one of your allied fighters that might help you, or might just dive on one of your fighters and give up the altitude. You then can turn around and bomb the bases. Yes, that costs you time. Yes, you actually need to move the mouse and hit some of the key bindings, which is too much for some persons which have no idea how the game works, to be honest, and then try to have an easy life with a bomber. This is not the way to go. And you can see here the sheer shell or bullet density of those 50 cals. 650 cals are at least firing at this Spitfire, and I just tried to scare him away. 50 caliber bullets have an astonishing range in the air, especially launched from a bomber. I hit enemies at up to 2 kilometers behind me, which is absurd. But then it depends on the closing speed and the shell time in the air and so forth. 50 calibers have here an advantage with their high muzzle velocity compared to the average 20mm. So here we get finally some hits into the Spitfire, and he hits me and I shoot him down, and he's down and he goes down. Both wings ripped clean off. Again, this is now the great shell damage, and I've taken little to no damage, and you can see what can you do at this point. I'm now one of, if not the last player alive, and I have a lot of Spitfires against me. Again, we have the points lead, okay? I want to drop bombs on my dedicated target, the enemy's base. I want to earn some more experience, some more civil lines. I want to actively participate in the battle, okay? This is my goal. I'm not space climbing. I'm not wasting anybody's time. I want to actually play the game. I want to carry my team to a victory if there's any chance to do so. And this Spitfire is playing it safe. And just in a moment, You can see me here having a little bit of a failure. I tried to level out the plane and I tried to get the hits on the Spitfire, but at this distance you just hit with 1 or 2 bullets if at all, and then the kinetic energy is greatly reduced again due to the distance, and also the incendiary chance of setting the enemy plane on fire is again drastically reduced. So 50 cals get much more terrifying the little closer you get. At this distance it's just registering sparks, to be honest. That's how effective that they are. And I noticed the other Spitfire a bit too late, so this was something that I didn't notice at all, and I was wondering why was that guy holding still. And I still get shot despite having killed that guy. I immediately was looking at the other guy. I still received hits from that Seafire, and the hits that I received after he was already shot to pieces because of the bullshit Spitfire flight model, even post-mortem flight model, or after getting both wings ripped clean off flight model, damage model, whatever, he still managed to cripple me with the what seems like 7.7 tracers and Hispanos. And those hits were the ones that crippled the entirety of my plane. But I'm still in the air. 2 of my engines are heavily damaged. Actually 3. 3 are leaking oil, and the other Spitfire is coming in. I try to again spray a little bit at distance to scare him away. You have a lot of ammunition in those 50 cals, so you can keep firing them. By the way, have you noticed that defensive gunners have always greatly reduced accuracy compared to normal armament of the same time? Yeah, that was now my 3rd kill, and I'm even more crippled. I tried to turn around. You can see I tried to turn around, return to the battlefield. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm shot to pieces, you know. I've killed already 3 enemy players. This is now tense. There is potentially a chance for me to win the game. Maybe Hokkaido is now the match where I can carry with the B-29. Just 2 enemy players left, okay? Just 2 enemy players left. I don't think that I have a good chance to ever get close to the base and actually drop the bombs successfully. It also will not bring me closer to victory effectively because I don't have the bomb load to finish the base. I will make good progress, and maybe a 3rd bomb drop fully from another B-29 would finish it, but there is nobody left alive. I'm officially the last player on my team versus 2 enemy fighters, I guess. And they know, or they should know, where I am. And even if I would make it to the base, you know, SPA or the AAA would shoot me down. And there is another Spitfire. Ooh, das nix gut. I'm dropping the bombs that are of no use, and the plane immediately gets more stable. No wonder, after releasing like 8 tons of useless stuff at this point in time. I tried to gun him down in the head-on with the quadruple 50 caliber, but I don't get in the hits, and yeah, he didn't shoot me down, so that's good. And the Tempest is the other one, and he is going after the vehicles that just appeared. We are already 34 minutes into the gameplay, and now I have to concentrate on this guy with my rear facing 50 cals. He tries to dodge, but the defensive gunners on the B-29 cover every possible angle effectively that you can choose in a fighter, except again the head-on, but you can turn around. One of my gunners just have reloaded, and he is doing some fine evasive actions, and I'm very rusty with 50 caliber machine gunners at the moment. Finally I get the hits in, and you can see I have to cool down, and again his wing is shot off, and he still gets hits in. And again, now I got shot down by hits he put into my plane after he was dead. This is bullshit. I call bullshit. This is something that I hate when fighting bombers, but also Spitfires in a head-on, or when they are sitting on my tile in my bomber. This is just disgusting. I should have survived this. Maybe I could have also taken down the Tempest when he went after me. Maybe. And so it just happened that I lost this match in a bitter heartbreak. But on the bright side, I didn't make a loss, at least. But the pure profit is around about 35,000 credits from 95,000 credits, and just 6,667 research points, because this was, after all, a loss, despite being the first on my team with a lot of points, over 5,000, having done a huge amount of work, and I still had to pay the price. So that's it for me today. At the end of the video, please don't forget to give it a like. At this point, I'm a little bit frustrated. I'm a little bit down, and there is so much more to talk about bombers, but I cannot make like 5-6 videos that you could make about this topic with various different gameplay examples to show you all the issues and also talk about potential solutions. At the end, we just have to accept how it is. I hope that Gaijin will work on it at some point, but we hope this for years. The B-29, I really like it. I like to look at it. I like to look at it in my hangar. It's one of the most iconic bombers of the Second World War, or in general ever. It has interesting history. Look it up. But to fly it in War Thunder is not fun and not rewarding. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Again, please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other in the skies of War Thunder.